aspect alone, that is maybe somebody that is higher than you mentoring, but we are not looking, most times we don't look at the second aspect, which is what you bring to the table as a mentee yourself. Okay, we call it mentorship because it involves two people, right? The mentor and the mentee, and we are trying to build a system, a really good, what was the question? A really good system for mentorship, right? And it takes two to tango. So now we look at mentorship as being, okay, somebody that is higher than you, trying to teach you in a particular aspect of your life. But then we as mentee ourselves, we have little things to do. And this is where I'm going to talk about, let me say, two things. Number one, if you want to reach out to somebody to mentor you, to really build a good mentorship system, clarify what you want to learn from the person. Because, for example, if you are trying to learn from a particular person, they don't just do one thing, or they are not just good in one thing. You have to clarify exactly what you see in them and what you want to learn. As a mentee, let them know. Then, as a mentor too, you also have to clarify. If somebody walks up to you and say, okay, they probably see something they like in you and they would like to learn that from you, you have to clarify that from them also. Know exactly what the relationship is bringing. Know exactly what you are doing in that relationship, in that mentorship relationship. And at the same time too, for you to be a mentor, you have to be, will I say, accessible. Not accessible to everybody, but like you have to be accessible to the people you are mentoring, because mentorship doesn't work if the people you are mentoring are not vulnerable to you. They have to be vulnerable to you. And if you are that kind of person that you are not accessible, then I don't see how the mentorship would work. I really do not see how the mentorship would. So you have to be accessible to your mentors, and at the same time to the mentee. If you expect somebody to mentor you and you are not vulnerable, then that means it's like you going to a medical, going to a psychologist, and you're telling them that, okay, they need to correct something with your behavior and all those things, and you are not vulnerable to them. You are not really correcting any issue per se. So as a mentee, you have to be vulnerable to your mentors, and as a mentor, you have to be accessible to them. So that's
yes. That was actually very profound. And let me talk in terms of like system in itself, right? She spoke more on the relationship, the mentee-mentor, right? So let's talk about building mentorship systems, right? One of the things that I figured oftentimes is that whatever thing anybody builds in this life is from the wealth of knowledge they have access to or that they already have, right? And so the question was more about, right, the mentorship system, right? And so one thing I wanted to say is that, firstly, people create mentorship platforms or programs based on the idea of mentorship that they already have. And oftentimes you see that there is a popular person that is training people, there's one lady that is coaching women, and when you check into the details of that coaching, whatever, what you're going to see is that they pray in the morning, they clock in the evening. I mean, I've been a part of, when I first joined the faith, I've been part of communities like that where what they know about mentorship is that you report to a woman, you be like, ma, I'm struggling with my spiritual life. And so the person will not tell you, you should read your Bible, you should pray, they'll pray for you. And that was the idea of mentorship that people genuinely have. There are no things like, oh, we need to cater for certain aspect of your journey. I like the idea of life school. From what I could see, it's more like you have already put structures in place for this is purpose, this is creativity, this is finance, right? There are structures put in place. So if we are to create effective mentorship system, I strongly believe that we need to cater much more about transformation of the people in the system more than the idea of what we are building. I see people build things these days. I'm like, genuinely, as Pastor Emmanuel said, like, it's just packaging. You see, they said you went to a town, they impacted 1,000 lives. And it's so funny because what you actually did, you just counted numbers. You genuinely just counted numbers, to be honest. Transformation does not happen because you gave pad to a kid. Did you change the person's life? You did. To some degree, you supported, right? However, I strongly believe that transformation is more of like it is metanoia, like it means you literally rewired a little bit of something they used to believe. You had a little bit of paradigm reshifting in that person's lifestyle, and it is more like work. It is beyond, we went to this school, we taught them for 1 hour, we saw the glory of God. Beautiful. I really appreciate that. However, if we are to create effective system, I strongly believe that anybody who wants to create a platform or a program or a mentorship platform should have it at the back of their mind that I'm genuinely and sincerely concerned about the life of the people that are involved in this thing. So the focus is we are moving from number-oriented kind of mentorship to transformation-oriented mentorship. Do you get? So we need to be sure of that.
All right, thank you very much. Please clap for them. They did a very good job. All right, so my next question goes to Adesola. Now, the question is, how do we build real collaboration and support among Christian leaders and creatives in our career?
If I heard you correctly, say, how do we build collaboration within Christian leaders? First, we have to get rid of pride, genuinely. I think the reason people can't collaborate is pride. Genuinely. When you genuinely just think, there's no kind of thing that I've built that anybody has built, fine, I get it. You might be different. But at the same time, if we just come to understand that without collaboration, we won't, there's a quote that says that if you want to go somewhere and you want to go there, is it faster? You go with someone. Why? Because it makes the journey sort of like easier. Why? Imagine you wanted to trek to Northgate from here, and it was just you're not with your phone, you're not with any headphone, you're just walking. There's a likelihood that the journey feels a little bit longer in your eyes because you do not have a companion, right? However, if somebody is walking with you, there's a high chance that you feel like, bro, we have so much gist. Before you even walk past where you are going because you have somebody with you. Is that good? Now, if we want to actually collaborate, especially in Christian communities, we need to get rid of pride first. And the second is we need to begin to look at possible organizations or communities that have similar values as to what we are building. Take, for example, I am building a public speaking training brand, and I want people to get proper knowledge on speaking in public and getting better communication, right? And I see that there's another organization that is not necessarily into public speaking, but they are doing more of etiquette and more of emotional intelligence. So I look at them like, what connection do we have between these two? Do we say that people that are doing this emotional, they would need a little bit of speaking up for their confidence? How can I reach out to the owner of this person and be like, hi, I see what you're doing. It's so beautiful. It's so cool. I would love to explore a possible collaboration with you. First is, the reason people cannot collaborate is pride. When you feel like you are there and you're on top of the world, or it's just you that have the right kind of thing, there's a likelihood that you will be closed off. Your eyes is going to be closed to every other people doing things around you because you are so soaked in and absorbed into your own world. Do you see? So I like to emphasize so much that if you want to actually collaborate, get rid of pride. Know that while your idea might be a little bit countercultural or like a little bit different, there are still some people that are vibrating on the same frequency as you. Look for them. Reach out to them, genuinely compliment people, admire people, tell them you really like what they're doing, get to interact with them. From there, start seeing what they are building and see where you can support, where you can collaborate. So now let's make it simpler. You are creative in the house, because this is about, about us, right? You're creative in the house. You are running a business, okay? You're probably selling books. And so instead of thinking, I have to build this thing myself, you could just reach out to the founder of Gold or FLI, and you'd be like, so I see that your students are more about emotional and capacity and leadership building. How about we create a structure where they get to buy books from me at a discounted rate? I bring my books on board, you buy it because we partnered or because we collaborated. Just let your eyes be opened. Do not close your eyes to possibilities around you, because genuinely, if you think about it, there are going to be people you can collaborate with. And I know this because I was a victim of the do it alone thing. Believe me, if you know me, I'm such a coconut-headed girl, like very coconut-headed. If I want to do my stuff, I want to do it alone. However, I feel like there are some lessons that you don't learn by books, you learn them by experience. And as I started journey, I figured that there's actually a benefit to collaboration, and it is that you know that this person has probably gone ahead of you or is already doing this thing more than you can do. Why not just drop the pride, girl or guy, and just reach out, right? So first thing first, see opportunities, drop your pride, and reach out genuinely. That's it. That's all.
All right. Hi. I just want to contribute to what she said, and permit me, I'm quite fundamentalist, so I believe problems can be traced down to basics, foundations, yeah? So, and I think one of the reasons why we don't really have collaboration, and it's not necessarily within the Christian space alone, I think it's generally, especially in this part of the world, is largely because of culture. So, like, our culture, like, celebrates individualism, right? So there is the fact that you want all the stories to be tied back to you. So you want to be the one to actually be the baba, like the big daddy and all. So, and I guess the purpose of this for us in the room and those that will listen to this after all is just to consciously put it to your mind that you grew up in that culture. You're not just going to be different. You're going to have to work consciously against it. And there is the fact that culture affects the light of which we perceive, we adopt the scripture. So, like, I mean, even Christianity. So, Christianity is more of a change of perspective, and most people don't get it. So, like, you would have to consciously submit yourself to Christ to help you in that regard. And I love how the last speaker, Bolu, actually expressed our submission to God, right? You allow the life of Christ flow through you, so you don't see individualism. And some of us would actually start some initiative, because usually to actually curb this thing of not collaborating, I think most of us also, maybe for any problem you want to solve, you want to ask who has done it before, who is doing something related. You don't actually have to start anything new. That's how it starts also. That is how it plays up. So you don't actually need to start something, maybe a new group or something. There's probably someone solving it. The only reason why I feel probably might need to start is if you research on the founder or the leading leadership and they are individualistic, or they just want to also have you join them so they can just be braggadocious and all. So you probably might start something, but you also must be very conscious, because if you start it, you are most likely probable to also fall into that trap. So that's what I want to say.
All right, thank you very much. That was very profound. What Adesola said is that the main reason basically is pride. So please let us put our pride aside and collaborate. If you want to go fast and you want to go far, don't go alone. Go with people. There is going alone basically can limit you when some problems or some obstacles come along the way. It'll be hard to go through it alone. But when you're going with someone, like, you just know that, okay, with this person by my side, there are things that we can do. When you guys rub minds together, you just, break boundaries and go further. So thank you very much.
Sorry, I would like to add a saying. So I just want to add this saying that I think I've heard people say it a lot, and it stuck with me. It says, you will get a lot of things done if you don't care who takes the glory. You will get a lot of things done if you don't care who takes the glory. If you are working with somebody, sometimes if truly you have a vision you are trying to achieve, God has given you a purpose. You have the responsibility. Your own is to get it done. Give the glory at some point. You will get the glory, but the main glory should be to God. So if you get to ignore who takes the glory at the long run, you will notice that you keep pushing a lot of things. You see somebody that can easily, if God gives you an instruction, you see somebody that can easily get it done for you, they get them done, you move. Not like, okay, you are now having the pride that, okay, I have to be the one, people have to know me that I'm the one that brought up this idea and all those things. So pride basically is just avoid pride basically and get the work done.
Thank you very much. And now my last question goes to Pelumi. And it is, how can we use our collective resources to help young people get mentorship, training, and funding?
Hi everyone again. So yeah, well, I think to an extent, first of all, I'm starting from a conversation of how that most collectives are they don't have long-term visions. So, and I would be very practical about this. Say, for example, the country Nigeria. So we've had collectives, like when I say collective, I mean maybe groups or whatever it is, and even mentorship forums and all. And it's largely just because we want to solve an immediate problem. And that also makes us think we can do it as a whole. So that also really like fragments the whole thing. And when you start to see the long-term vision of whatever it is that could happen, say for example, you take men like Elon Musk. Elon Musk is not working for the now. In fact, he's working such that, like, it's part of his work is that he wants to go to Mars and he's building a life out of it, right? And I'm saying on that journey is that to carry one of the frontier leading institution in the world, NASA. They've had to join him on that mission, and to what's it called, see what we can do at Mars. And his vision is not planning to come back to Earth, because he knows, according to him, it will take probably the next generation, probably after long years, persons on Earth might probably figure out how to come back to Earth. And he's not really caring about, I want to live long, die old, and all of that. And I think it's how that most people, sadly, are myopic. They can't really see the future. And because when we understand the weight of the future and how that it doesn't just happen, it is being created, we would know how that we need to come together as a collective, each part supplying something to actually build something. So there is the fact that there is what the University of Technology in Accra is supposed to do, knowing the resources in Accra to actually build and contribute towards the national resources, towards national growth. And when we see that it's not just about maybe Nigeria being safe, it's about the fact that we have lots of fundamental problems that have not even been solved for we now to be solving new age problems. We see that we have a long way to go, and you start to leave your self-aggrandizement behind, just so that we can actually get things done, work together and all. And you see the need such that even if you are going to be in the economic space of having to maybe be a financial stronghold, when that vision is communicated, and usually it takes maybe one man, maybe one body to actually put out that vision, which has to do with collaboration in Akure also and all. That there is no collective vision as to where is Akure going, what exactly are we doing together, what do we want to make of Akure, how do we want people to see Akure in the next 10 years, for you then to see that, if you want to see Akure as maybe there is an outstanding goal of what it is to be done, you alone can't do it. We need to work with GCI, we need to work with Build, we need to work with Gold, we need all hands on deck to actually make this work. You would know that whatever, even if someone takes the glory of something, you would also have a glory, because there's a lot of work to do. There is something you would have to do. You will find your own space to excel, you will shine, you will have your own audience at all. It's because there is no collective vision as to this is where it is we are driving towards, to then say, you that you are doing business, this is where it is that we need to support you. So everyone wants to just stand out and do their own myopic, whatever it is they've called, maybe they want to be the next Dangote and all. And even Dangote, you see Dangote pouring into nations, investing hundreds of billions of naira. It just announced one for education yesterday, and it is a collective, we are going somewhere. So it is not necessarily for him just to stay at the richest man in Africa. It's about the fact that, are we going somewhere? You could see the man still building even at the peak of his career, because he has a vision. So we don't have a collective vision. We don't know what exactly the problems are. Most of us haven't done research as to what is history saying. We don't really know that the countries we celebrate today, 500 years ago, they were nothing. So So we've had the example of Singapore that started building in the 90s. They got independence almost same year we got it. So we saw how a man can communicate a vision and will stop corruption and will stop everything just to drive a nation forward. We don't have a collective vision. We don't. Where is Akure supposed to be? So, and some of these things are supposed to be led by our spiritual bodies, which is why I celebrate every spiritual leader here. So you're supposed to communicate to people in church that this is where Akure is supposed to be and all, and individuals, they start to build structures and systems and collaborate with persons even outside that spiritual structure, that, oh, this is what Akure, this is what the Lord is calling for Akure, and this is where we need to be. So I think I'm not sure if I've done, but I think I've.
Sorry, that was, well, give it to, that was a lot of energy, really. And you actually said so much that I felt like this guy is hot about Akure. So really, let me say a little bit of thing. So he said something that I wanted to say. Well, I would want to beg you on behalf of our spiritual leaders that they're actually called to the church and to the body of Christ. However, those of us that have ventures that we are doing, like we have programs we are building already, I would love to say that the question was about resources for mentorship, right? First off, I'm such a big fan of peer-to-peer mentorship because I know that we are young people here. You know something changed your perspective, something changed your mind, share it with your friend. I believe that if we start from that level first, then that is when we can now say, oh, we are now building something sustainable. We have like an archive of resources. I read a book, it was helpful to me. Know me, I'm going to share it with you. That's like a fact. If that book really helps you, I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to tell you, you should read this. I saw it content. I feel like it was helpful to my perspective. I share it with you. First, I would want us as individuals here first, before we go to the system or governmental organizational level, that if we want to actually create a collective of resources or of whatever tools that has helped our lives, I strongly believe that start from your circle first. It's as simple as that. Let us simplify it, reduce it to the lowest term. Start from your circle, okay? Start by sharing resources, start there. And as time goes on, I strongly believe that for Akure ecosystem, I've been a part of an organization called FAME, Fashion and Made for Excellence. It's in Ibadan, right? And I see how this organization has been helpful to students, especially those that are in secondary school. They will come oftentimes to give leadership talks once in a while, and it's like there's a curriculum. Yes, that's a word. So whenever they show up in school, they are given like a module of that curriculum. And this is bringing it to the system organizational level now, that if you're building a team, if you're open to see mindset in Akure, especially from the youth, change, I would love to say that there should be like a system of program that will cater for the needs of the people in whatever ecosystem. Now, in this context, Akure. Okay, so now you see the Akure people are us. Apologies, I'm giving an example. They talk a lot. They say random things. They're not, there's no poise, no elegance, really. And so you see, oh, we are creating systems that is going to change their mindset first. We're letting them see that they are beyond local talent. So you cater, it's called reverse engineering. You go there, look at the problem they are having, see, oh, how can we make this into a curriculum for teaching and training them? Then you work with that. I believe from there. And also, do not be an herder of knowledge. Don't hoard things. Don't keep things to yourself. If you've learned something, share it. If you feel like something is going to be helpful, donate it out. If you have a library, share with people around you. You start from there. You start changing our career ecosystem from your village, from your neighborhood. Do you understand? So I really do hope this was helpful.
Thank you very much. Please put our hands together for them. All right, so please, we just want to entertain one question if anyone has. We are already behind schedule, so just one question. How will we do it now? Two of you raise your hand. All right, let's... sorry?
You can stand and talk without the mic.
Okay.
Let me
question. Yeah.
My own question is centered around the kind of creative that are building here in Akure. Because I'm somebody who's passionate about creatives here in Akure. But there's one thing I've watched for a while, right, for creative in Akure. So you actually like maybe answered the question, but if you can like emphasize on it. So what do you think we can do about creatives? I've seen creatives and I've seen them flop in whatsoever it is that they are doing. I notice Akure creative have the smallness mind kind of thing and then a lack of excellence in what they do. Now, what do you think we can do for the next generation of Akure creatives? I mean, that can imbibe in them the ability to, that little thing they are doing, they can put in excellence to it, and they can put it at a global scale, and we can see it. And yeah, so that's my question.
So I want to answer the first question. You said if you are starting a business, should you go into partnership or collaboration? See, I would strongly advise you go for collaboration because there is a lot that goes into you being in partnership with somebody. There is a lot you need to check because sometimes you might be the one to come up with the idea, but then the person might not see the vision you have. So, and when it comes to partnership, you have to work hand in hand. You can't do partnership without you two people being in sync. If not, at the long run, the business is going to fail. So it's better for you to go to, for you to do collaboration. The collaboration could be like a one-time thing. Okay, for example, now, I'm a fashion designer, and probably I'm just trying to start a business or something. And I know, okay, I have somebody around me that is a photographer. I have a model around me. It's easier for me to just call the person and say, okay, let's do a collaboration. Everybody is bringing something to the table. Everybody is benefiting at some point. But partnership, you might be seeing the vision, but the other person, it might take you longer time for you to convince the person that this is what we are trying to gain with this. But in collaboration, everybody knows what they are trying to get in this. Do you get? So go with collaboration, and it's easier for you to even get your resources than going with partnership. Do you get?
All right, thank you for that. I'm going to answer Dimeji's question. Should we be real with ourselves? Right? So first and first, Dimeji was right about that observation. However, there are still some excellent creatives like you. Am I correct? Do you agree? So now, first and first, what I observed is that the major problem of Akure ecosystem is more of societal conditioning. It's more of like, that's how they do it, that's how we're going to do it. People do not have the exposure to see what it looks like to be at the other side. And so they feel comfortable at that level that you call small-mindedness. 5 years ago, I wouldn't have imagined that, well, I imagined it. I've always imagined it. But somebody else must not have imagined that they'll probably be somewhere on a large scale and doing something really big. Why? Because the environment made them believe that what we do is hustle for the rubber. That's it. That's all. Do you get? So now most people do not have the exposure to adequate knowledge or adequate examples that could let them see that, this is how things are built, okay? This is how you're meant to do your work. And so that's enough, is enough reason for people to be small. If everybody around you is small, there's a likelihood that you're going to be small unless you move out of that system. Now, if you cannot afford to move out of the geographical location, we now have to train people to move out their minds. You can detach from a city without being a part of the city, and that was the whole concept of being in the world without being of the world. Do you see? So now you can be in Akure, and your mind is not of Akure, because you have now gotten exposed. So now the problem and the solution is, we see the problem, the solution is let's create people who could train this. You have the idea already. It's an idea. You could just create like a community, a creatives hub where people are trained. You let them see there is so much more to you. Do you see? You don't do things low level. And also about excellence. I wanted to say a lot, but they said our time is going up. But really, about excellence, if all you are after is money, right? not necessarily your professional development, there's a likelihood that you're just going to be doing trash out there. I'm such a big fan of excellence. If it's not going to be good, I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm not. I don't care how some people call it perfection. Well, no, it's not. Because there are sometimes I just do some things that are not necessarily perfect. But if you decide that you want to make excellence a core value, there's a way your mind begins to gravitate towards it. And so you begin to see people that are excellent. So you want to talk to them. I like how you do your stuff. That's really beautiful. You follow people like that, so much so that you begin to imbibe their belief systems. Do you see? So it's more of, the problem is we are aware. Now the solution is, let's train these people. And if we cannot afford to start an organization, let's start from where we are. I'm such a big fan of leadership from where you are. You don't need positions for leadership. Of course, there's something called positional leadership. What that does is that it authoritizes you, like it gives you authority. However, you can lead without a position. You can lead without a title from wherever you are. So if you see people around you who are doing stuff that are not excellent, you could start by sharing resources. I find this helpful. I feel like it's going to help your career. Bro, actually, I know that you're up for the money, but at the long run, if you think about it, you really need to be excellent at this thing. Start from there. If I see somebody that is thinking like, if I'm close to somebody and the person is thinking in a way that I feel like it's not healthy, I'll call you. Hi, I actually like what you're doing. I actually feel like if you could work on this a little bit, start from there. You're causing change. You're leading. You don't have to start an organization for you to lead. And you don't have to start anything. Start from your little circle. And that is how we influence change. That is how we cause systems to, favor us in the society. So about Dimeji's question, first off, we are aware of the problem. Secondly, we just need to work towards it, start from where we are. And if you have people who already are building things like that, partner with them, get them to be much more intentional. A lot of these digital skills training is out there already, and I'm tired. But really.
Let me just quickly add to that. See, another thing is, it's still part of what she said, but I feel like one of the things you should do now is you know the problem. Spend resources on getting yourself exposed. She mentioned something of you not being, you are based in Akure, but you are not of Akure. Do you get? If that is what would take you now, like you don't really have to jump into, okay, let's start the change. Spend enough time to widen your horizon. Learn. If it is for you to probably look for somebody that is doing exactly what you want to achieve, look, because there is no way you can cause a change when you don't know what the change looks like. Do you get? You can't cause a change when you don't even know what to expect when the change happens. You have to have like a pictorial. See, if you are going to cause any change in any aspect, you have to have like a pictorial view of what exactly you want. So spend enough resources on getting yourself exposed. If it requires you for you to go to different seminars, go to different states, it might be expensive, it might cost you, but spend money on getting yourself exposed.
And I wanted to have this, our time is already fast, but I wanted to say it, because I'm such a big fan of action points, right? If we talk, yeah, so what are you going to do? So what I want everybody to do, I do a lot of reflection. I'm such a big fan of reflecting. At the end of the day, I will always reflect. I reflect into sleep every single day. So now, I wanted to say that when you get home or wherever you find yourself after you leave here, actually sit down. What are some of the things that I observed about this place? Maybe you are not concerned about Akure like they gave us to talk about. Maybe you're concerned about your ward entirely, or you're just concerned about your school or your church. Think about it. I want it to sink into your head that you are a leader. Believe me, whether you believe it or not, you are a leader. You are leading someone. Consciously and unconsciously, by your actions, by the things you do, you are influencing somebody. Somebody somewhere is looking up to you the way you are. And so that enough is to tell you that you have to now be intentional about the kind of leadership you are causing, about the kind of change you are influencing the lives of people. So after you leave here, I want you to think about it. What are the things that I know already that I feel like it's something that should be replicated in the younger ones? Number one, my peers. Number two, and older people. You can lead anybody. I talk with people that are lecturers, that are professionals, that are out there. It's a matter of your mind. GC. So now, look at those. What are the things that I already know? How can I replicate? How can I teach this? How can I train them? What can I talk about? Do I need to start by teaching, writing, or talking? Start from wherever level that you are. and live with the consciousness that you are a leader. Don't wait for anybody to give you the table. I always say this: if there is no table for me, I'm going to make the table. I'm going to be a carpenter and make the table and sit right there. Do you see? You don't wait for people to bring you to the table for you to do things. So really, at the end of this thing, I want you to have a mindset that is focused on causing change regardless of where you are. Is that good? So if you see something wrong, desire to correct it. If you see something that is faulty, learn about it and see how can I make this something that would be helpful to this person or to this set of people. I hope this really helps, right?
All right, thank you very much. Please put your hands together for them. As you can see, they are very hot. They have things to say, but we can't right now because we are out of time. So thank you very much. This panel session has come to an end, and thank you guys for your attention.
Let's begin to clap for them as they leave the stage. The panel session, the speakers at the session, they were hot. They were just giving us words and rhymes for Omotola. I think one, I wrote it down because it touched me gone. Said, you will get a lot of things done if you do not care who gets the glory. That one hurts. It hurts. For Fabskid started, sorry, I call you Fabskid. His name is Fabo Adeoluwapelumi. He started I think he should be a preacher. He started very chilled. Then all of a sudden, he just flare up and I was like, a lot of problems. This is great. I said, brother, chillax. We know you are passionate. You guys say, now calling, go call and say, you need to be passionate about this collaboration thing. And for Adesola was just speaking a lot of grammar, I just want to, sprinkle grammar here and there and diction. And time is not on our side. Let's go once again. And we want to call on the way Life School presented earlier. We'll call on a representative from FLI. I will call on a representative from FLI to speak. I used to call them fly, because they fly. You understand? So we'll call on Fabo Adeoluwapelumi Jackson.
All right. Hello again. Sorry. So yeah, I do have a lot of. I think a lot, and sometimes when I see problems, it just bothers me. And I haven't spoken a lot. I started Twitter Space just to talk and rant. All right, so talking about Future Leaders Initiative. So it was after a prayer session I had with Mr. Oluwole. That's the programs director at Gold Initiative. Please, a round of applause for him, yeah. So we considered it, and we were talking, and it occurred to us that back then in FUTA, in which I would like to start, is that when you think about it, what makes cities, what makes the cities and the countries in which we know, what actually makes them like the country in which, you'll find that it's all tied down to the men that actually stay there. For example, now you talk about America leading in technology and research, and you would actually just tie that down to the likes of Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg and all. It's not necessarily that the country in itself is, we are designated by God to be a people of innovation. It's just about the people that are there taking on responsibility. And that also goes to the question in which the media asks about creativity. When a collective is defined by something, it's because there haven't been people that would rise, that would change the collective, the narrative, right? So, and we saw that Akure, especially FUTA, was a hub for intellectual mind. And when you trace it back to how it happened, it's basically people, there used to be the contact of the outside world, people that have gone beyond, to come back to inspire. And I use the word inspire intentionally because people do events and they tell you their stories and you're inspired, like some of you would be today, right? And you go back and take your life seriously. But the problem is, over the last few years, there's been a decline of that. When you take an inventory of it, for those of you that are in the ecosystem, like take an inventory of number of events that happen this year, like very few. Thanks to Bolu, she did an event last year, right? And which led to we say, oh, let's actually start something to incubate talent, to incubate people that would change the world. And today we are happy to say we are done with the first cohort. It took us 6 months, rigorous time, and it was a lot of knowledge sharing. And just to wrap it up, we are going to be having just 2 short presentations from 2 of our mentees. So the first one would be by Samod Adeyanju, and the second one by Testimony Ako. Just 2 short presentations. So I'll call on Samod to just give us like a very brief insight as to what it is has been working on, just to. All right, please.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so thank you very much for this opportunity. Yeah, my name is Samod Adeyanju, and okay, I have to be this close to it. Ah, come on. Yeah, I'm actually really nervous, but what can I do? Yeah, so my name is Samod Adeyanju. All right, I'm the founder of Next Gen Academy, and what we do is just prepare students for UTME, GCE, WAEC. All right, that's just it. And I've actually really come across several students, and I really noticed something. All right, students are actually really learning. All right, we know what to learn, but we are not actually really being taught how to learn. Yeah, there's really that problem. Most people in school, okay, I'm currently in 400 level, a full-stack student. Most people in school actually really, there's this whole idea of cramming. You have an exam tomorrow, you just look at, 1 or 2, then you go for the exam, and you get to just it's more like, what they used to say, la cram, la pour, exactly, that kind of problem, all right? Yeah, so to actually really give more context, there's a particular statistics I have here. Yeah, and that's 1 in 7 of you, 14.4%. Okay, let me just use that 1 in 7. 1 in 7 of every youth you meet is actually really, in Nigeria, is not in education, employment, or training. And that means that 1 in 7 young Nigerians are neither learning nor working. All right? That is, they are actually really not working, and they are actually not learning. That is, most are actually really graduates. Yeah. Also, backing up that with a particular statistics I have here, that about 65% of Nigerian employers, that is companies, organizations, they are actually really, finding it hard to actually really bring people on board in the organization, which will actually really scale them. But, the people on ground, they are not actually really they don't have proper knowledge and skill. All right? They don't have proper knowledge and skill. And, looking at it, they don't have proper knowledge and skills, right? And the only thing they can do, well, maybe not the only thing, all right? The thing they can do is to actually really learn, right? Learn and really acquire this knowledge and this skill, all right? To do this, there is need to, I'm always, like I said before, you know what to learn. I want to learn probably, okay, I'm a student, all right? We have some students here. I want to learn probably a particular course or something. You know what to learn, you have the material and all that. Yeah, but that's not enough. You also need to know how you can learn. And this particular concept I'm talking about, you knowing how to learn, is what we call meta-learning, actually. And that's exactly what I want to talk about now, all right? Meta-learning. Yeah, for us to do meta-learning, we actually really need another concept. Yeah, first of all, should I say assume that, you guys know that meta-learning is simply, we learning how to learn. It's not so complex. Meta-learning is what? Learning how to learn. So for us to do this meta-learning, there's need for metacognition. Metacognition, not so complex as well. Simply, it is what? It's basically just thinking about thinking. Okay, let me give more context. Metacognition rather, is is the ability to be aware of your own thought process. All right? Ability to be aware of your own thought process. And not only that, to be able to monitor and control that thought process, your thinking. All right? That's what metacognition is. But that's, me just giving that particular definition is not enough. All right? There are, should I say, obvious parts to it that, we can actually really, work on. Yeah, and there's the knowledge part, there's the regulation part. Yeah, when we talk about the knowledge part, that's we having knowledge of ourselves. We should actually really have this idea that okay, you want to learn, but you should actually really know. Should I say? There's need for self-awareness really. All right, you need to know about yourself. Yeah, you need to know about your strengths. You need to know about your weaknesses. You need to know about probably places you can study. That's location. There's also time. We are all different. Yeah, we are actually really moving from teacher-centered education to learner-centered education, and that's really personalized learning, independent learning. Yeah. So there's need for self-awareness. All right, self-awareness, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses. I met a particular girl on Thursday, and she told me, I was discussing this particular concept with her, and she told me, talking about strength, that she can, really assimilate faster if she's in a place where there are books. All right, if she's in probably a place like library where there are shelves of books, she can assimilate faster. And I'm like, that's not me actually. I don't want to say, but that's actually really the thing. I can read anywhere and assimilate anywhere. That's not me. Yeah, there are some people that they can actually really learn better if they have music on, probably their headphone and listening to music. They can read and understand and all that. So we have our, should I say, differences now. All right, and we should not just neglect that. And that's not actually really captured in our classrooms. That's not captured in our classroom. We are taught the same thing. Yeah, and we are actually really expected to get the same thing, but we are different. We should be able to learn in different ways, based on our differences now. Yeah, so talking about the knowledge part, all right, apart from the self-awareness we need to do, there's also the need to know several learning strategies as well. Yeah, several learning strategies. I'm sure some of you know these strategies actually. Yeah, I'm sure. There's this FEMA technique. I don't know if it's quite common actually, FEMA technique, and that's actually really you learning, you studying a particular concept, and you studying, understanding it, then going to another person, then teaching that same concept. If you're able to teach that concept to that person and that person understand, then that shows you understood that particular concept. Yeah, so that's one learning strategy. There's also another learning strategy. There are a whole lot actually. We have visualization. That's also another learning strategy. And what does that mean actually? Visualization. It's actually really, should I say, it's no news. It should be no news to anybody here that we actually really think in pictures. We think in pictures. If I'm to say elephant right now, I'm sure everybody is thinking of elephant and not the word elephant. E-L-E, exactly. You think elephant, you don't think of the word exactly. So we think in pictures. We can actually really implement that in our learning actually. Yeah, so when you're trying to get concepts, you don't just, there's this rote memorization most people do, or we do actually, and that's just you rereading, ideas over and over and over and over again, so that you can, remember. But that's kind of passive really. You're not really interacting with what you are learning. Yeah, learning by visualization now, you need to think of, you need to actually really see that thing, and if you're able to see it, actually, it stays, upstairs. Yeah, so there are other learning strategies, but I don't want to waste too much time actually. Yeah, so like I said before, metacognition is actually into two parts. We have the knowledge part and we have the regulation part. All right, the knowledge part, I talked about two things: self-awareness basically, and also learning strategies. Now, talking about the regulation part, yeah, we have three things here as well. We have the planning, we have the monitoring, and we have the evaluation. Planning, monitoring, and evaluation. And it's all about questions really here. All right? If you want to learn anything, and now this is not just limited to students now, it's for anybody. All right? I'm sure we not only have students here, we have people, we have graduates here. All right? And there are things that we are always going to want to learn. All right? Learning is a lifelong process. All right. Yeah. So talking about planning, yeah, it's all about the question: how will I approach this? All right. How will I approach this? You can actually, you want to learn something, you can't actually just, you can't actually just, go into that thing and, okay, I want to learn. What can I think of right now? Probably graphic design. Okay, I want to learn graphic design. Okay, just wake up one morning and start watching, probably go to YouTube and start watching videos and all that. Well, that's fine and good. Yeah, but there's a saying that if you actually really fail to plan, all right, you've planned to fail. Yeah, if you fail to plan, you've planned to fail. So that's exactly why we need planning in our learning processes. Yeah, not just, going into it without planning. So there's need for planning. Yeah. To not waste too much time, there's also monitoring. Yeah, monitoring is all about, now, before monitoring, there's planning, okay? You've planned, and okay, let me talk more about the planning now, to give more context, really. Yeah, so the planning, I would say that's you setting goals, goal setting, okay? Goal setting is very, very important. There should be something you are pursuing. Yeah, you can't just say, I want to be a graphic designer. There should be something you want to, a kind of graphic designer you want to become. Yeah, so you setting the goals and, you've set the goal, okay? You've gathered the resources or the materials to study. There's also the need for the learning strategy to use. Yeah, so that's all factored into the planning. Yeah, so now the next thing is actually really the monitoring. Yeah, the monitoring is basically after, you've done, let's say I want to, graphic design, for instance. Yeah, I won't just become a graphic designer overnight. Yeah, I'll have to study, watch videos and all that, with time. Yeah, so let's say I plan to actually really learn graphic design, probably just for about 2 hours every day, 8 to 10. Yeah, so after this more like study session, there is need for monitoring. You asking yourself, how am I doing? All right, how am I doing? Am I doing good? Am I actually really, following my plans? It's very, very important, all right? Now we can go to evaluation. All right, evaluation. Yeah, when I talk about evaluation, something came to my head, which is actually really test, exam. Yeah, there's, for you to actually really, evaluate yourself, there's need for tests or more like an assessment. Yeah, and well, depending for students, that's kind of easy. All right, you can, set up questions for yourself to actually really evaluate how far you've gone. All right, and actually really know what you can do better. Yeah, so that's the part of evaluation. And like I said before, I think I said this. Yeah, that this meta learning I'm actually really talking about. It's not just learning how to learn. All right, it will actually give this, it promotes this idea of independent learning, self-learning, which is, very, very important. Yeah, we are not only graduates, like I said, we are also, we have students here, we have people working in different organizations, brand owners and all that, all right? And there is need to learn. It's only, important that, we know how to learn. Learning is a lifelong process. We're always going to keep learning. And there's a particular saying that says, if you stop learning, you start dying. Yeah, so we'll keep learning, but, to not just make the learning, should I say passive now, all right, there's need for these ideas. Yeah, so to round things up, I would actually really like to, talk about my solution plan. What after realizing the fact that, people are not actually really taught how to learn, so I'm like, okay, what can I do? What can I do? So the first thing in my mind, because I'm an online tutor, all right, so I personally, decided to implement meta-learning and meta-cognition into my classes, into my UTME classes, YA classes, GCE classes. Yeah, and not just, teaching people, physics, this equation of motion, that's not just enough, all right? The way you can learn that, properly. Yeah, and not just really, about the subject alone, but, about life, learning in general. Because learning is not just in school, all right? It's not limited to just school. It's broad, yeah. So that's that, and there's also the need to create awareness, to sensitize people, just like this event, to actually really make people know that there is meta-learning and there's meta-cognition out there. Yeah, so with that, let me end with this. A quote from Nelson Mandela. It says, education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world. And that's actually very, very profound. Yeah, so let's not stop learning, but, we should actually really learn how to learn. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that beautiful presentation, Samud. So, also to wrap this up before we call everyone out for certification, so let's have testimonial in just a few minutes. Thank you very much. Please, let's give a round of applause, please.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. So, my name is Testimony Oladamnola Ako. I'm a final year student of the Department of Logistics and Transport Technology here in FUTA. And I am privileged to be one of the students of the Future Leaders Initiative Cohort 1, organized by Gold Leaders, Gold Nation Builders. So I want to use this opportunity to appreciate our mentors in person of Mr. Oluwole Lala. Thank you, sir. And Mr. Pelumi, God bless you, sir. So through the series of the classes that we were taught, especially from system thinking and nation building, I realized that everybody, like me, you, we all have like our own parts to contribute to nation building. So on this realization, I checked my own sector, that is the transportation sector, and I realized that my sector is actually one of the key sectors contributing to the nation's economic growth. Praise God. Sorry. So, and I learned that my sector is not sustainable. There are imbalances in that we have almost 4 to 5 alternative modes of transportation in Nigeria. That is, we have the railway, the use of trains in transporting people. We have the inland waterways, the use of ships. We have the road transport, that is the use of cars and vehicles on the road to transport people. We have the pipeline, and we have the airways, that is the use of plane. But we shift all this transportation burden from all these other sectors, all these other modes, on the road transport sector. And thereby there is so much burden on the road transportation sector. So it's just like, I don't want to explain. So it's just like the burden for the all modes, we are shifting everything to the road transport. So the road transport is now overburdened, leading to various damages. So all our road infrastructures are now being damaged. We have potholes everywhere, and leading to more accident rates. And okay, let me start from this. A farmer transported his farm products from the farm to the market, to be specific, yam. So when he got to the market, he realized that a larger percentage of the yam was already cooked up because of the heat from the vehicle. Also, another farmer was transporting tomatoes from the north to the southeast, and realized that initially he wanted to sell 100 tomatoes for 1,000 naira. But when he got here, he realized that 40 pieces of the tomatoes from the 100 pieces that he wanted to sell for 1K already got damaged. Meaning that he's going to sell 60 tomatoes for what? For 1,000 naira. To whose advantage? The consumer. So I don't think you realize that even your farm products, your clothes, your shoes are more expensive. Why? Because of logistics costs. So from research, we have it that 40%, the logistic cost takes up 40% of the final price. That is, let's say I got my wristwatch for 5,000 naira. So that means that the 40% of 5,000 naira is what? 2,000 naira. So the cost to transport this small wristwatch is just 2,000 naira. That means that when we have like a balanced transportation system, this inflation will come down. So that is why I'm proposing us revitalizing the rail transport system of Nigeria. And I am actually proposing this solution, that is to revitalize the rail transportation sector of the Nigeria, because when we invest more in rail transportation, we have low costs to transport our goods. Let's say if Jumia, GIG Logistics can be using trains in transporting all these our products, we have it more, like we will get it less expensive, because trains have their own right of ways. There's no need for maybe gallops to damage our goods or anything, and they can take in more capacity, like they have larger capacity than vehicles, trucks. And I am contributing to this problem by making awareness, like public awareness, like I am doing to you now, because you don't know the reason why your glasses is expensive. Why? Back to the transportation, the logistics. So I am making this public awareness so that everybody, all of us can contribute together to solve this problem. I don't know, one of us might be related to the, maybe have connection to the governor or the president later in the future. So you can just chip in this solution that, oh, I have the solution, like this problem that we're having in the transportation sector, let's do this, let's do that. And most especially, I want to make my peer ladder, it makes sure that his friends too were going up. Because my major contribution is to advocate for policies that will actually benefit this rail transportation sector. And for me to be an advocate of policy, I cannot do that alone. I need people. I need friends that we can actually push this movement together. So, apart from that, I realized from research that the rail transport sector contributes to China's economy majorly because they transport freight. They use freight transportation than passenger transportation. Freight transportation means that the movements of goods, like Jumia and GIG. So the ratio of passenger transportation to goods transportation is actually higher. So it contributes to the nation's GP more than we moving people. So all this little policy is what I intend to move, to push when I am fully in the system. So I just want us to go with this consciousness that every one of us, we have something to contribute to nation building, to rebuilding Nigeria. You have your own quota to contribute, I have mine. And I am doing this public awareness so that as I'm stepping out from this, or you can make the awareness to people that we need rail transportation system in Nigeria. Thank you. It's like my time is up.
All right, so this is our first step in nation building. So we started out with this video, and it was with the quote that the best way to predict the future is to create it. So the future we don't create don't exist. The reason why the problems we have in Nigeria is because we've not had people that are very intentional enough to actually say, oh, let's solve this problem. And the interesting part is that for the next 50 years, we are going to arrive at 2050. We are going to arrive at 85, and these problems will continue to exist if we take responsibility. And that's part of the reason why we actually started this initiative, so that we can actually transfer. There's a whole lot to be done, and we can't do it alone. So please, a round of applause for Gold Builders and other parties. So right now we are going to be calling out all participants that are present here to actually have the certificate. So, and I'm going to be calling on Mr. Oluwole Lala. Please give him a round of applause as it comes forward.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, you don't want to graduate? Should I carry my certificate and go? All right. Thank you very much. Don't worry, we won't be doing that. So, to make things snappy, I'll just be calling on the participants. So you come forward, collect your certificate, and we know that this is where we part ways. Ayomiposi Akinkoen. So, okay, let's take a picture. I think the stress we made you guys go through, you need to take the picture with the two of us. Yes. Yes. Let's. Oh yeah. Let's be fast.
Favor can come out.
Favor Akinwale, you can come out. All right, Favor.
Hold on. Did you get it? Hold on.
You have to be fast.
All right.
Presentation. Favor Akinwale. Thank you. We'll take the picture after. Ibukun Dorcas. Ibukun Dorcas is the vice president of our department. Testimony Ako. Our powerful logistics president, Temileri Oluwa Omosonya. If you don't want the certificate, you can. Should I keep it? Samod Adeyanju. Our meta learning professor. Thank you very much. This man is Iweo. I just said I should drop that in passing. Leader Brides Gbadura Glory. Powerful name. Wait. Just keep this. Ayomide Ajani, I think. Yeah, so that would be all. Thank you very much. We can move to the next session now. What's that? Okay.
So good afternoon, everyone. So as you all know, we are FLI Court 1. So on behalf of FLI Court 1, I want to present some gifts to our mentors. Though this, like everything they've done is invaluable here, but I mean to appreciate everything they've done for us. Their mentorship, how they've built us, everything they've done for us is something that we could not, because when, before I was able to get to this place, I didn't even know about it. It was one of us that, it was the last day that the registration was to be ended. I registered. And throughout the journey of this mentorship, I've really experienced a lot, and